I'm coming to you from the all-new second generation BMW X2. It might look really pretty outside, but guys, it is so windy, you wouldn't even be able to hear my voiceover. So we're gonna do all of this in the car.
The X2 is a sportier fastback version of the BMW X1. Does that make it less practical? Maybe. But if you want that, then the X1 is your choice. Personally, I prefer the X2's looks. It's a bit chubby and cute with puffed out hindquarters and a bit of a pissed off looking face. Okay, that might not sound cute, but I like the way it looks. It's also longer by 7.6 inches with a longer wheelbase, which means more interior space.
The interior of the X2 looks very similar to the X1. You get this wide curved panel that covers most of the dash, and it definitely has the same UX system. They are on operating system number 9. I'm not gonna lie, this is not my favorite operating system. There's a lot of layers on this. Frankly, I don't find the processor all of that quick, and when you hit like the mode, for example, you want to go to sport mode, you have to click on sport mode. It takes a second for it to change into sport mode. And then if you want to go back to your map, you have to then press the map. It just won't automatically go back after a little while. So good news is I have had a little bit of a sneak peek of what the next generation of UX system is from BMW, and it looks interesting.
When it comes to noise in the cabin, no, it's not whisper quiet, but it's definitely not bad either.
Visibility is decent, especially given this fast back roof. I'm not really expecting it to be outstanding. So I am grateful for some of the safety features that come standard on the X2.
Some of those include forward collision mitigation, pedestrian detection, active blind spot detection, and an exiting warning function if you've got a cyclist or a pedestrian approaching. Optional additions include a camera and radar-based steering assist, as well as distance control on their driving assistant professional package. You can also opt for the active park distance control with side protection and parking assist plus. That's for all you BMW owners who have trouble parking. I kid, but they should have a turn signal assist too. The interior materials and colors don't jump out at me as being super special. They're what you would expect with some faux suede and leather. There's contrast stitching and some interesting textures. It's definitely got a sporty vibe in here, but to be honest, I don't find it terribly memorable. The paddle shifters, however, are so massive and red that you can see them from the International Space Station. There's no losing those suckers. And you get very smart M seatbelts, which I love. They've actually got a kind of a martini livery vibe. Super. 2 engine options will be available in the United States. The base is the xDrive 28i. You're gonna get 241 horsepower coming out of that engine. And I do not have an opportunity to drive it now. The one that I'm in is the M35i. It's the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that is in the base model, but it's been tuned to get you a little bit more horsepower out of that. You're looking at 312 horsepower on the M trim. Torque numbers are the same on both of those options at 295 pound-foot.
There is an iX2 model that is an all-electric model. Guys, we're not getting that in the US.
Acceleration feels substantive enough. This is a 3,800 pound vehicle, so I do appreciate that 312 horsepower. If you asked me how I felt about the lesser powered version, that 241 horsepower model, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I haven't driven it. Do I think it might feel a little bit underpowered? For a sporty fastback, the answer to that would probably be yes. So if you are looking for something that is on the quick side, then I would say the M35i is the one you need to look at.
Whichever engine you choose, both come standard with all-wheel drive. Now, normally I would not say that something that looks like this could do a whole lot off-road, but I happen to have it on excellent authority that this car is actually surprisingly capable when it comes to stuff not on the road.
Yes, the BMW X2 did the Rebelle Rally, an 1,800-kilometer off-road rally that is not for the delicate. And while it did get an extra skid plate just for some extra insurance, that's all that was different. So while maybe you wouldn't take your own car off the beaten path like these amazing ladies did, know that you and your car are capable of doing more than you might think.
Both of those engine options come mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. If you have this just in regular drive mode, I've got to tell you, the transmission, it's very reluctant to downshift, and the shifts are surprisingly slow for a dual clutch. But I've found that if you put it into sport mode, the clutch responds much better. You are more apt to downshift a little bit more when you're on a curvy road, finding the correct gear for the situation that you're in a little bit faster. When it comes to the paddle shifters you have here, again, if you're in normal drive mode, they're a little sluggish. So if you are doing a little more spirited driving, I recommend putting it in the S mode here.
It handles itself fairly well around corners. That's thanks to a more rigid front axle for better turn-in response and a very solid all-wheel drive system. I'm not feeling a ton of thrashing back and forth on windy roads, and that is very appreciated.
Again, I'm driving the M35i, and I want to talk about the suspension for just a quick second. You do have an adaptive suspension on this car, and I'm a little bit grateful for that. When you are in sport mode, I feel like the firmness of the suspension goes almost too far. It honestly feels like I'm riding like literally in the back seat on the rear axle. It's very harsh and it's very jarring. So to me, it's just not a comfortable ride at all, and not something that I feel is sporty. It's just more harsh. But if I put this in relax mode, which is sort of the comfort mode, the suspension does soften up a little bit and it becomes a little bit more compliant and much more comfortable. So for me, having driven this for a little bit, I'm finding that the perfect settings as far as drivability would be relax here on the suspension setting and sport here on the shifting. So you're a little quicker here, but you're a little more comfortable here.
The M brakes feel solid and sure-footed. Stopping will be no issue.
The steering wheel feels really good in my hands. I like the weight of it too. It's a little bit on the heavy side, which I enjoy. There is a little bit of a dead spot right on center, but everything is electronically assisted now, so I kind of expect that. There is definitely no feedback here. Like, this is no.
However, I am not sure if all of these individual pieces live up to true M characteristics, which over time in the driver's seat I started to feel about the entire car, unfortunately. And it left me wondering, is this X2 worthy of the M badge?
If you're not up for buying the M35i, you can opt for the sport package on the base xDrive 28i. It doesn't give you any more power in the engine department, but it does give you some extra added things that should help to enhance the driving experience a little bit.
Those include M Sport seats, M headlights, and some sportier looking exterior trim pieces like intakes and side skirts, as well as those bigger M brakes and adaptive dampers that firm up the suspension. But again, given my thoughts on how the M35 got tuned, I'm not sure that's an advantage. Since the 28i is more of the volume model, I really wish I had had an opportunity to experience that one on this drive. Standard features include 19-inch wheels on the xDrive 28i and 20s on the M35i, which honestly with low-profile tires are not doing the ride comfort any favors. Sorry, they might look cool, but they might just be too aggressive for the way that this suspension is tuned. You do get LED headlights, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, dual-zone climate control, a power tailgate, and an illuminated kidney grille on the M35i. You can add the convenience package, the tech package for a head-up display and surround views, the premium package for an upgraded sound system from Harman Kardon, and the Driving Assistance Pro package and M Sport package that I mentioned earlier. Competitors include the Audi Q3, Mercedes GLA, Range Rover Evoque, Lexus UX, Cadillac XT4, and Volvo XC40. Pricing on the X2 xDrive 28i starts at $42,995, including destination, and the M35i starts at $52,395. Deliveries to the US markets start in March. The more I drove with it and played with the settings, the more underwhelmed I was. And I hate to say that because I always like giving cars a chance. My biggest issue here is on how that suspension felt. To me, it was trying to do its best imitation of what it thought an M car should be, and as a result, it just didn't connect, at least not for me. This is not a car that was made for the US market. In fact, I think we're third or fourth down the list, but it will be a volume car in China and will likely hit there. But I am not convinced that the true BMW M customer here in the United States will respond favorably to the X2's M efforts.
My overall thoughts on the X2, I think it's a good-looking car. Certainly it's capable off-road. Dynamically speaking, I would not have considered even the M35i that I'm driving a true M car. Do I think this is a good entry-level car for someone who's looking for something that's premium? Maybe they've just gotten a promotion and they're wanting a little bit of a better car, then sure. But if you are looking for true driving dynamics, I have a feeling you're going to be looking somewhere else.